Welcome back to another episode of the Pitchmark Collective. We got a full crew here with JL, his low internet speed. We got Cam, and we got TPC Ted. If you guys didn't know, Teddy went to TPC on a Tuesday practice round.
No
And
big
Teddy,
deal.
it looks like by your bubble here that you're in the market for some new irons. What's that about?
Yeah, I've been pretty good. I used to be what some would call a club hoe. Um, it very rarely would I go more than maybe 3 or 4 months without some tinkering. It was a problem. I realized I had a problem shortly before we moved from Gainesville to Jacksonville because I was trying to find places where we could move into where I wouldn't have to downsize my golf collection. And that just wasn't feasible. So I sold pretty much everything. I still kept some couple different iron shaft setups and some wedges and putters, but it was a lot. It was a lot. I had 6 or 7 like full size golf bags filled, and then
Damn.
other clubs outside of that. So it was an issue.
I feel like we should get your girlfriend on the pod just so we can talk it through with her and how big of
She
a
was
problem
okay.
you
She was
had.
okay with it. She didn't mind that I had it. It was all like relegated to the garage anyways, and I had like a little workshop out there. So like she never really saw it. Didn't have any problems like when
Cam,
boxes would show up.
I feel like this conversation would go very negative if we brought his girlfriend on here because we'd be like, why did you make him do this?
No,
Why
it was
did
my
you move into such a small apartment that he had to downside his one pure joy, his
Yeah.
club hoe collection?
It was but you know what? Clubs, they come and go. Part of it is the fun that is involved with like finding, these hidden gems in some of these deals. So, I don't have a problem, basically starting back over. But my current irons I've had for probably 3 or 4 years now and used them off and on, but they've been in the bag steadily for 2 years. And they were already kind of old. So I think it's time. So, if there's any suggestions, I'm
What
all
irons are you
ears.
currently playing, Ted?
Currently, they are the Strixon Z785s.
So those are they're 5 years old
Yeah,
at this point.
pretty old.
With what
Uh,
shafts?
S400s, tour issue. I prefer those, but I'm open to some others. If not, I have a couple other iron shaft sets that I can throw in. So yeah, mainly just looking for some deals. Send them my way. Send me the eBay posts. Tag me on Facebook.
At TPC Ted. This is now his new handles. So
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you can get into like the ZX7s. Like I see ZX7s on WRX all the time for $500. And
See, that's the deal I'm looking for.
Because
I
now they
don't
have
want to
like
pay
Mark
900 plus.
Yeah,
can
now
you
they
tag
have
him
like
on
Mark
WRX,
twos and
Justin?
stuff like that. Oh yeah, dude, they're all the time on there.
Perfect.
I
I'm
feel
not
like
married to Strixon. We could do some other brands as well.
Like
It's just that's what
T150s or T100s.
I've had T100s in the past. The first 2019 when they came out, I had a set of those for a while. I liked them.
Which one of you guys was a Titleist AP guy? I know one of you on the irons had to be it.
Titleist AP.
I was
AP
a 962
AP
guy.
ones. Okay.
Like I was pre-AP.
I feel like
I
3
had the
years
AP2s.
before
I had
COVID,
the 712.
if there was a foursome on the golf court, like in every foursome, somebody had the Titleist AP2s. I just feel like somebody had them.
Yeah.
They were all over. Teddy, you look
I will
like a
say
guy
that
that
the 712s, which was the only AP ones or twos that I tried, those were like the worst. Like those are now known as the worst AP2s that they ever made, which makes sense because I think I used them for like 4 rounds and then sold them. Yeah, but I prefer Titleist, but I'm open to everything.
The last thing I'll say, and this is just solely to help you, Ted.
Yes.
I believe like a new iron set, not like new, right? But new to Ted, would be a great gift from Tim Hunt for essentially ruining your pro career, early on in life.
That's a great idea.
There we go.
So
That's a great idea.
at Tim Hunt, please take note of the pod.
I do just want to mention though, I don't want a hand-me-down set from Tim Hunt because his irons, the spec wouldn't quite fit my needs. His are about 2 inches short of standard, so
yeah,
that's not going to work.
Yeah. So not an actual, Tim Hunt used set, but something that Tim Hunt has purchased for you.
Yes.
It's
yes.
fine. I got you. We'll take that offline with Tim directly after this. So
I got a question for both of you before we like roll into player stuff, etc. Since we're talking about equipment, if you're playing with someone and you look at their bag, what do you like? What is one thing that you'll see in their bag, clubs wise, where you're like, oh, that's a player? Like, what is your one thing that you'll look at and you'll be like, oh, that guy's got game or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, is there one thing that you see where it just like that just reads to you where you're like, okay, we're gonna see something here?
it's honestly not like when I'm looking at it's not their bag. It's like them. Like I feel like I have a pretty good gauge of like if I'm rolling up to the first tee and there's three guys, like I could tell which one's the best one just by what they're wearing. And I can't really speak past that. But if it's their bag, I'm probably looking at their iron set to see like, all right, do they got blades? Do they got game improvement? How old they are? Because I feel like a lot of good players they'll find like that club or that set of clubs where it's like, yeah, this is where I play my best, and they're typically not the brand new things, right? Like one of the best golfers I know plays irons from I think 2017.
That's probably Ted's irons.
His two and 3 hybrid are from 2018, I think. Like he's just like, I
Yeah.
play them well. Why would I change?
I think for me, it's usually the bag itself. If it's like a loud cart bag, bright colors, I already know like this guy's got nothing. And it's usually filled with like brand new clubs, anyways. Also, like the barcodes that will like be on the shafts, like when you buy a new driver or fairway wood. If those are still on, I know that it's like a bum that I'm playing with. How you don't just go ahead and take that off or ask them to take that off before you walk out just blows my mind.
Yeah.
So on the inverse of just knowing if this guy's a player or not, if I see those things, I know he's not. Absolutely not. If he's like a good player, usually I'll look at like the putter or maybe the wedges. Like for the putter, if it's like not brand new, if it's like an older model, that usually is a good tip. Or like the putter grip, right? Like if he's got like the medical tape wrapped around the grip, like, okay, this guy, he knows what he likes. He's used this for a while, or he practices all the time. That's usually a good sign. Or like, I mean, you see some of the guys on tour, like they don't have brand new grip. Like look at Spieth's grips, right?
Yeah.
Like even when he puts a new putter grip in, like that week, the following week it's already almost destroyed.
Faded.
So something like that is like a pretty good indicator of like, yeah, this guy's probably a player.
Yeah, I always think like putters because I look like, but not it can't be like a new Scotty.
Yeah.
Like if it's a brand new Scotty, I don't even think twice of it. It's like, oh, cool, someone bought it.
So when you saw Teddy's putter, you're like, yeah, Teddy's a player.
Well, so that's like what I kind of take away from it. There's two things: the putter, or they've got to have some old fairway wood or like a hybrid in there, and that's when you're like, oh, this guy's gonna be sneaky good. Because like Ted, for example, has an epic flash with a freaking steel shaft. I was like, oh, this will be interesting. But like we've got a buddy at the course, and he can't get rid of it for some reason. It's a Callaway XR3 wood.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a Adams type, the Adams
the Pro
hybrid.
Gold.
Yeah, the Pro hybrid.
Pro Pro Idea.
Yeah,
Gold.
and then and I've got one of those, but I've got it in a 1 hybrid, and that thing is just I love that thing. But
Yeah.
and then his putter is a like from high school Terillium
Mm-hmm.
with the original rubber grip on it. So, but like those are the two things. It's like you've got some old hybrid or a fairway wood that's just like, it's like if you look at Justin Thomas's bag, like, oh, cool, anyone can buy this. I mean, besides the fact he plays blades, but then you've got an old 917 5 wood in there. It's like
Yeah.
there's like hints, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's always kind of interesting what people look at in bags and like what you can kind of grasp onto with it.
So I assume when somebody looks at my bag and they see my Jet Speed, TaylorMade Jet Speed 3 hybrid, they're like, yeah, this dude's a flusher, as Teddy would say.
It's either that or this guy's got kids. He
Yeah.
comes out when he can.
Yeah, or this guy is not using that club at all today, which is more likely the case because I rarely find use for a 3 hybrid. I did use it. It's usually like a 1 or 2 time a round. It's like when I'm like, all right, I don't want to hit a 4 iron because I'm not going to get there, but 3 wood might be a little much. I don't have a 5 wood, and 3 hybrid seems to fit that little gap nicely. So
I actually think I'm going to go in for like a gapping session. I want to see what a fitter would put me in.
Didn't we cover your gaping
not
session?
not to be confused with gaping, Tim.
But
I got
I
all
think it's
excited
interesting because like I crushed that driving iron. Like Teddy, I hit that pretty good.
Yeah.
But like that's the first thing that goes away in a tournament, and then my 3 hybrid, like I know I need to go down to a 4 just because it kind of goes a little bit too far for a gap, and then obviously my 3 wood just goes too far, so I need to buy that, but for another time.
That will be on our gapping podcast, the gapping podcast, Teddy.
The
Okay.
gap, yeah.
Is that going straight to P Hub or where's that going to get?
Anyways, we were going to talk about the Players Championship before we got off the rails here.
Oh yeah,
and gapping. So Teddy, one of the members of the Pitchmark Collective has some strong feelings about the Irishman who won the Players Championship. With the phone being taken away, I think there's some sense of this gentleman not liking the entitlement that he senses from Rory McIlroy. So before we pass the mic over to that gentleman, let's hear your take on Rory, the phone situation, how he was the poster child for the PGA, right, for a long time, and this win at the Players. I know I'm dropping this on you a little bit. I wanted to kind of catch Justin off guard here, though, when it comes to his take on Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I were in agreement. Should he have taken the phone? No. But I mean, what's the big deal? Like that was his initial reaction to imagine you're at work and somebody just like makes a snide comment about like
Somebody's outside my window. You can't sell shit, Cam.
right. Remember a year ago when you didn't close that one sale? And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, dude, like why don't you just get out?
That literally describes every message I get from Cam, though.
But it's literally the same thing. And then he had him kicked out. Like, and people are acting like this doesn't happen like in other sports. NBA guys get people kicked out. I'm not going to say all the time. I'm not going to go into like hyperbole, but like, I mean, you've seen over the last few
It's
years,
common. It's common.
a pretty large uptick in people that are paying way more money than what these people are paying at golf tournaments.
Yeah.
And they're getting kicked out of the first, 2 or 3 rows just from, just the badgering of some of these top players. So I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. Should he have taken his phone? No. The kid got the phone back.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not
so
like
what's
Rory just tucked the phone in his pocket and said, "You're not
no, he got the phone back. I think he learned his lesson. I don't think he's going to, be the stereotypical douchebag at the next pro tournament he goes to. And I think more people like that are doing those things at these events, like they should be kicked out. They should be publicly shamed. And yeah, if it keeps them from coming to another tournament, so be it.
What interested me the most about it, like, yeah, I agree. Like Rory, like, you didn't need to grab the phone. But like, what if Rory just went over to this college golfer, which I'm going to get to in a second, is his role on this? Or what if Rory just went over there and be like, really, man? Like that would catch the kid off guard so quickly. Like
Yeah.
all these people heckle with the idea that this pro athlete's just gonna brush off their back until it doesn't, right? So it's like, yeah, could Rory have not taken the phone? Probably. Is it a big deal? No. I think more of the responsibility lands on this college golfer. Who is it? Luke Potter. Like you clearly have something at stake here, right? And it backfired on you. Like why? First of all, why are you going to a pro event to heckle one of the top golfers in the world? Like you should be there, like trying to get in this guy's like.
Right. Aren't you aspiring to be in that
Yes,
position?
exactly. Like if it was me and I've had 12 Michelob Ultras, it's a way different story, right? Than Luke Potter, up and coming golfer. Where does he go? He's not Texas, right?
It is Texas.
He's Texas.
Yep.
So I mean,
University of
you come
Texas.
from you come from a program also who has developed major
Rooted in the
winners,
PGA Tour.
right? Like he's got to have more awareness as a young athlete, I think, as well. That being said, the floor is yours, Justin. Jump on
I,
that pedestal. Let's hear what you got to say about Rory McIlroy. If you want to throw in Colin Morikawa as well, I know you have strong feelings about that gentleman in his interviews. Let's hear it.
I I just think there's a little bit too much entitlement happening with it. It like
With
obviously the
Rory.
call-on thing. I don't owe anyone anything. The hell you don't. You owe fans and you owe the media everything for what has turned into the PGA Tour for you to be able to earn a $4 million paycheck in a tournament. Without the sponsors and the fans, you're not getting that paycheck. We're still living in Jack Nicklaus era of making $150,000 in a tournament. Like, so you're not going to have the same type of wealth that has brought you this. Like that's just entitlement. And it's probably just because I have the same feeling on Colin, and then now it's like I see Rory go over to a college kid, take his phone, and then have him kicked out. And then now, and granted, I get your point, Ted, that the the coach was the one who actually said, you know, like you're writing an apology. But now he's writing an apology to the PGA Tour and to Rory when it's like, one, it was a practice round. And I will say, I think there's a huge difference between a practice round and like saying it in tournament round. Like, I think there should be a little bit more when it's in a like the serious setting of Thursday through Sunday. But all he literally said was just like Masters in 2011.
That's you also got to take that with a grain of salt. Like just because that's what Twitter and people say that's all was said,
I
I
know,
highly
and
doubt
I'm,
that's the only thing that came out
but
of that kid's mouth.
so that, and I do get like the full point. Like I'm definitely not as like I'm not on my soapbox as much as I probably was on like Sunday because I was just
You had
like
some big emotions about it. All right.
I didn't have big emotions. I sent one text message about it. So I just like for him to actually go and do that, it's like, are you serious, Rory? Like Rory gets heckled a hell of a lot more than that. And there's this one kid, and you know what? I'm guessing Rory probably actually knew he was from University of Texas and went over and just did it to be an asshole. Like I just think I think truly that Rory would do something like that. I know it's probably not the best outlook on it, but we are I don't know if this is good either, but like we've got Waste Management, we've got Live, we've got Ryder Cup, we've got all these events that are wanting the fans to participate and be louder, whether that's good or bad, right? Like not all of it's going to be good. There's going to be some bad taken out of it. So now we have people going to other events and starting to do that. Like I just don't think the first thing that should have happened, he should have been thrown out and like thrown under the bus like he has been.
Are you sure
That's
that's the first thing that happened though?
no, and it might not have been. You're right,
Right.
but that's also where Rory comes into play. And instead of saying, I'm not going to answer any questions, he'll go, oh, well, on hole 7, this was said. On hole 10, this was said. Then on hole 11, I finally had enough. and I got tired of it. So I went over to security and had him kick out. I didn't go over and steal his phone, which I know a lot of people are hanging on the like, well, why doesn't Rory get charged with stealing? I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's gonna happen.
That's softer than Rory actually going to grab the phone and is trying to press charges after he brought, like, the video cuts out. Probably got the phone.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I just think it's kind of a lame way to react to it. I do agree with you, Kim. Like, if Rory literally would have went over there and confronted him, that would have accomplished a hell of a lot more for a lot of people than Rory doing what he did. And I probably just catches me because I just think there's a little bit of entitlement happening in this game right now.
You can just say you hate Rory and Colin too. I mean,
I don't honestly for the longest time I've been a fan of like Rory standing up, but he has been such a flop around like his stances and going back and forth now and not sticking up for it. And it's like, dude, you're saying one thing then and saying different now. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but with that being said, like, all three of us over the course, let's just use the live golf, right? What is this, year 4, year 5 for live golf? Like, we all have stances that have changed over the last 5 years. We think Rory's has happened so quickly because we don't see Rory every day. We don't experience like we do. So it's like, is it really that quick of a flop? Like, we don't know the conversations that him and Jay were having, early on compared to now, right? I don't know. Like, I also don't necessarily care what people have to say, like pro athletes have to say, outside of like how they're playing their game.
Yeah.
Like, we obviously know the players don't have as much say as the PGA Tour has put out when it comes to changes happening, and a lot of these new changes are driven by live. Like, I will concede that fact. Like, the PGA Tour players who made a boatload of money over the last couple of years because of live purses going up, like, Phil's kind of right. Like, you have them to thank because they went on a limb. They created this new tour with all these new big purses. Like, Neiman and Rory just made the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe the players might be $4.5 million if I think about it, but still, $500,000 difference.
I mean, if you would have asked me about live 3 years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, they need to get back together.
Yeah,
now I'm
you
like,
hated live.
I don't care. Like there can be 2 tours. It does not matter. I could care less if I ever see Bryson and Brooks play in another event. I don't think it makes the PGA Tour any better with any of the live players back. And I know that's like old, but like it just has gone on for so long that it doesn't even matter at this point.
It doesn't feel needed.
It feels like something that's costing the PGA Tour a lot.
We've just gotten used to it. Like, we're used to it now. This is just how it is. All right, let's get into the actual tournament. Overall, outside of the weather delay, I thought it was an awesome tournament. Right? It would have been nice to have that 3-hole finish on Sunday. With a 4-hour weather delay, that was never happening. Right? A lot of low rounds, a lot of high rounds. I mean, Emiliano Grillo 85 on Saturday, was it? Couple of 80 pluses on Thursday and Friday. Like, the course showed its teeth to players who weren't in form. A lot of these big names, Max Homas and what's the Norwegian guy, Hovland. He's Norwegian, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah,
yeah. Like,
so
what happened? Where did he go? Like, he won the FedEx Cup 2 years ago.
Yeah, Victor's fallen off the face.
And then completely just, like you said, he's off the face of the earth now with his golf game.
But I mean, there was a lot of people on the bottom of that where, like, there's some names. I mean, obviously you said Homa and Hovland, but there was others that were just like down there. I mean, you've got Adam Scott, Adam Hadwin, Nico, and Rossman missed it. I mean, Doug Gim's been in there for a little bit. Brian Harmon, not even close. Matt Fitzpatrick, like, not playing any golf, which I think that was Tim's like dark horse or one of the calls where he's like, I think he's going to start playing good golf. And
his outright winner withdrew halfway through Friday.
Wyndham, yeah. And I mean, my dark horse was Tony Finau, and he went 76, 76. Like,
strong.
just got destroyed. I mean,
Mhm.
one of your favorites, Ted, at Maverick McNeely. I mean, 72-81. You
He
know,
he
like
he was nice. He has the recency bias of winning, right? What was it? Um why am I spacing on what tournament McNeely just won? Thanks,
uh
guys.
yeah.
Um but yeah, I mean the biggest one I see, which was surprising, was um your guy, Tony Finau. I kind of liked your pick, dark horse pick. I'm like, yeah, this could be a good tournament for Tony to come overpower the golf course with his distance, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. It was also like kind of, I don't know, this is going to sound weird, but it was almost like anticlimactic because we had all these really good players in that field. And if you look at the scoreboard on Saturday and Sunday, you're like, huh, there's one big name up here, and that's Rory. I mean, if you're the everyday golfer that is watching the PGA Tour, you know about JJ and you know about Lucas Glover and
Mm-hmm.
some of those other names. But I mean, it like my wife looked at it and she's like, I don't know any of the names on the leaderboard right now.
My bad.
I mean,
McNeely was second at the Genesis.
Yeah, I
He
was
didn't.
gonna say I think
That's my
Maverick
bad.
McNeely had a couple good tournaments but did not win.
Yeah.
I think as far as the leaderboard goes, like the top 5 was kind of lacking, but there were still like a bunch of guys that were in the top 10, or just outside of it, and you could make the argument that they were still in it come Sunday morning.
Yeah, I mean
And then
that
there
is
was plenty of other drama with all those other guys that were just kind of lurking as well once play started.
you are right because I'm looking at it right now. I mean, you got Bobby Mack, which I think wasn't that your dark horse. I mean, I
Yep.
think you threw his name in there. Davis Thompson, he's probably a pretty underrated player. Colin Morikawa, Jake Knapp, Patrick Cantlay, Ted's favorite, two sleeve, iron cover bandit, and then we got Fairway Jesus. So I mean, yeah, there were some names once you got past that first page.
Did you know that Fleetwood's the favorite to win the Valspar this week? Odds
Yeah,
on.
1,100 odds.
Yep. Yeah, dude, just a lot of astronomical rounds. Like 85 for Emiliano Grillo, 80 for Victor on Thursday. A lot of high 70s, 80 for Nick Dunlap. I mean, JT was tracking to shoot 80. Luckily, he went birdie to
Yeah.
finish on Thursday, and then and then came back on Friday and tied the course record. Like the stories were there, like with that specifically, right? I mean, he had what 16 shot difference. It was
Yeah, it was a
15.
PGA Tour record to go from
Yeah.
78 to 62.
Yeah, I mean,
So.
just crazy. He couldn't miss. As soon as he hit that drive into the rough, I'm like, yeah, there's just he's gonna try and do a hero shot here to get it up there, and just never faded into the green and went straight into the water. So it was an awesome round to watch. I called it. I said to one of our coworkers, Justin said, "Just watch. JT's gonna be low round of the day. He's gonna make the cut,"
Yeah.
and that sure shit would happen.
I think Thursday I would probably give I'd probably be a tie between my DFL Camillo and I think Lucas Glover coming out and firing a 66. That would be like my round of the day. For Friday, I'm no one's gonna argue. Like JT
Right.
got the round of the day without a doubt. Um, Saturday, you and I were going back and forth on this because round of the day, honestly, for me, like I give it to Batia. I know it's hard to argue with someone. There was what Danny Walker, Bud Cauley, and Danny Walker came in with 66. Like it's hard to do that, but dude, Batia was off the planet with his driver, and he's playing with Minwoo Lee, who went from leading the tournament to like 4 under or something. I mean, he had a crazy round that was just high, and for Batia to come back
We're
and like
talking Saturday.
Saturday, yeah, and to
Yeah.
only be 2 over, like that was amazing to me. And then to show the
3
guts
over.
that he did on Sunday, that was I don't know. I think it says a lot about that kid. I mean, he's still young. He's what, 23, I think. I don't
He's
know.
been pro for like 7 years already.
I know you have a different thought on it, Ted. You didn't. You do you think Batia had the round of the day on Saturday, or who did you have for that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought like for Batia, I liked him going into Sunday just from what I saw Saturday. Um, he just for him, and he was only what did he finish at 10 under.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to finish,
Yeah, tied
just
for third.
a few shots back, and like he didn't make a putt all day Sunday. Like he was still just dialed ball striking wise, and it's not like he was totally off with his putting on Sunday. It was just everything was like either catching the lip or like a half roll short, which I'm sure some of the guys were struggling with just with some of the rain and stuff as well once they resumed play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I in our group text, like that's what I told you guys. Like that's who I thought had. I mean, I was happy Rory won, but when play had started, like first thing Sunday morning, that's who I thought was actually going to legitimately make a charge and win this thing, and it would have been super exciting.
Mm-hmm. I uh I think I like. I'm a big like drama guy. Like, give me the story. I like Bud Colley on Saturday with the 66. I think that was
Mm-hmm.
huge for him, and overall, just seems like a really nice guy, like person wise.
Totally.
And then his story of injury from his accident, having that. I forget what the technical exemption's called, but from that
The medical
injury,
exception.
yeah, like being able to kind of bounce back. I think he's been playing relatively well, probably just above average of the everyone with their cards. I thought that was cool, but I do agree, Teddy. Akshay was on my radar of like, yeah, this guy could definitely come out on Sunday and go pretty deep. Um,
I
just
also kind of
his
like.
putter
I
left
mean,
him after the third hole.
I told you guys like just commenting on JJ Spawn and just like calling him a flusher. Like after those first few holes, like I kind of liked his game. It just sounded different. Like he's got a really aggressive move. I mean, the ball speed isn't as high as Rory, right? But he just takes a really aggressive move through the ball, and it sounds different. And he was hitting good shots. He didn't really get anything going until after the rain delay. That's kind of when he started to really make some putts. And I think for him, the only reason he isn't walking away as a players champion is because they had to come back on Monday. I mean, you saw how he just kind of like came back, started making putts, and was feeling really good about his game. It's just one of those things where if you go to sleep and wake up, like it's not going to be the same, and that's what happened to him.
Cam,
Yeah, if
you
they get
agree
that,
if they play the playoff that night, JJ's winning?
I'm not going to say JJ's winning, but he's definitely putting out more of a competitive effort than he did on Monday. Um, you got a birdie 16, especially in the playoff. Like, Rory, Bomber Rory, if he puts it in the fairway like he did, he nuked his drive in that playoff. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely nuked it.
Can you imagine being in a playoff and not only for one, you're playing with Rory, which I mean,
Hmm.
JJ like he's a journeyman golfer, right?
Yeah,
He's got one win ever. It's not like he's been on this stage a lot. So he comes into this and now he's playing in a playoff against Rory, and Rory just fires off a 330-yard drive right down the middle on the
yeah.
first shot of the playoff. Huh. Cool. This will be
Hmm.
interesting. Like
And
uh
it's not like JJ skirted into the rough on his drive. But when you're 20 yards back from Rory after you just see him hitting this towering moonshot of a drive to cut everything off,
yeah.
um, it's a mind game at that point. That being said, like to Teddy's point, JJ came out after the rain delay from two over par, got back to even for the day to tie Rory. Like he had the guts to get to where he needed to
Mm-hmm.
get that playoff. I also don't want to diminish what Rory did on Sunday to go 4 under to put himself in a position 73 on the toughest day on Saturday. Like, Rory played really, really good golf every day, and that's how you win the golf tournament.
You and I went back and forth on Rory because you were like he's dialed, and I honestly don't think he was dialed. Like he had so many wayward drives. Like what did they see? He hit like 30% of fairways all weekend. Um, but like he made up for it in other ways. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
he putted pretty damn good. Like his short game was pretty on point, but I don't know. I just maybe I expect too much of Rory,
Yeah,
but like I just
I think.
saw him and I was like, even with his B game, he still won.
Yeah, I think I was more nervous about. It's probably because of the Pinehurst putt, but on the 72nd hole, Rory's
Oh,
putt for
totally.
par,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you like I was like, you have to make this, Rory. Like if you miss this, your life is over. You are never winning another golf tournament. Because like it was a tough two putt. He was 80,000 feet away at the
Yeah.
bottom of the green to the back pin. Like the fact he two putted shows why he's top 10 golfer of all time. Because I I'm three putting at best, at best. I thought it was gutsy what he did on Sunday. That putt on the 72nd hole for par had me at the edge of my seat because I was literally thinking like you're never bouncing back if you bogey this hole because JJ Spawn wins the tournament. And then I thought JJ Spawn birdied. That was such a pure putt that he
When
hit
he
on
hit that
the
putt
second
and it
hole.
was going towards the hole, I'm like, oh, Rory's never winning a tournament
I
again
looked
if
at my
this
wife. I'm
goes in.
like,
And I
he
was
just
like,
made that. Yeah,
yeah,
and it was what a foot short, tap in par.
yeah, six
Not
foot.
it was yeah, it was maybe a full roll short. I
Was
mean,
it
it
even
was
closer?
dead in the
Yeah.
heart. Yeah, it was close.
I mean, it's what you consider a foot or two, Cam, but the normal population considers that about six
Yeah, yeah.
inches.
I'm shaking. I'm shaking over anything at that distance. So. And I gotta imagine JJ like you're like like yes, it's to win the tournament, but from that distance, like he hit a good putt. Like that's
Yes, he had a great
he
putt.
did what he could.
JJ just
You
played
know,
like steady Eddie the entire time. Like
mhm.
he made a few mistakes, but then bounced back. Didn't make
he
any drastic and didn't honestly play like didn't make birdies when he needed to, but it was just like par, par, par. All right, bogey, birdie. Oh, okay, par, par, par. Like it was.
he did have like a yip putt early in the week. Yeah, I think it was his only double bogey three putt. I think it was, and it was like prime Will Zalatoris. Like what just
Mm,
happened? He took that club back. It's
All
not
right,
getting enough love.
you bring up someone that like I actually think deserves some like conversation on Willie Z.
Mhm.
Like they showed him so many times on Saturday with his putter and Sunday.
Oh,
And that guy,
they're dying to catch him do the figure
like,
eight
yip it. And before you
motion
would see
again.
the putter blade kind of come in and then hit it. He was so solid.
Hmm.
Like
He,
him and Glover make me want to go buy a broomstick.
please don't. God, I was irrationally annoyed at watching Lucas Glover mosey his way around TPC Sawgrass this week. I was like, I don't want to watch Lucas Glover play golf. But
I
like
think
he
it's
was steady.
hilarious how
Like
much you actually hate the guy.
I don't even hate him. I just don't want to see him like be
I'm the
successful.
I'm the one that hates him.
Yeah,
I
Teddy
I
actually
love
has a
his
visceral
story.
hate for him. But no, I like when Will Zalatoris up until that eight he made, I was like, this guy, I'm so happy he is back. Like I'm still happy. Like he played relatively well outside of like that one hole and on Saturday. Like he just completely imploded at that point.
Yeah.
But to see him at the top after the run he made, like on his exemptions, for that season where he was just playing like literally every tournament, making the cut, like making the most of it. I remember texting Tim about him like 3 years ago. I'm like, you got to give this guy his card just based off what he's done this year,
Yeah,
these exemptions and everything, because he
he's
was
fun to watch.
he's
I
super
mean,
fun to watch.
ball striking is top 10 on the tour. Like, just the only thing holding him back was just the putter.
Yeah,
But now
and
he seems to have a stroke and a putter that's working for him. So
yeah, he's back from injury. Like I'm excited to see
yeah.
what his next few years look like. I mean, he's had great finishes at the majors. I
Mhm.
think he was second to Fitzpatrick right at the U.S. Open. He was second in the Masters. I mean, he's a competitor and he's good for the game. And it was nice to see him, in the mix really up until that point.
You brought up his
He did give us an all time clip though with what kind of bounce is that? Like I was cracking up. Like
oh, that
as
was
soon as I got done
hilarious.
feeling, as soon as I got done feeling sorry for him, like that's kind of funny. Like that's literally something I would say after I hit like a hosel rocket. I'm like, why didn't that bounce my way? Like, what are we
It's the
talking about?
complete opposite of what happened on TGL last night.
Yeah.
But
I didn't get to
uh,
watch.
so you brought up his 8. This is like his front 9. He goes out and shoots a 34 on Saturday. He goes par, birdie, par, quad, double, par, double, bogey. He went 34-44.
I've had a few rounds like that.
Like
I'd say
I
mine's
mean,
mine's more like 44-54.
in 2 years ago in our club championship, I went 44-34.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I've
relatable.
gone backwards on that, but yeah, man, I can't imagine going 34-44. That would just be brutal on a Saturday on the PGA Tour.
And that's the thing is like that's probably a mental side of him that he recognized. Definitely, he had to have. When you go 8 for a quad and then double right after, like
Yeah.
that's a lot of mental, going into at this level. Because you got to bounce back. You can't go more than par on that next hole. Like you can't.
So I mean, I think we've. Was there anyone here that actually thought JJ was going to win on Monday?
No,
No,
I
he
wanted
like
it.
he
I
said,
wanted it
his
so
odds
bad,
were
but
way better if he could keep it going right after he
yeah,
signs his card and gets it in. Like do the 3 hole aggregate right there. He'd,
yeah.
he'd, he'd have a better shot. I'm not confident he irks it out with just how Rory was playing too. Like Rory went 4 under on a Sunday to win the Players Championship, the 5th major. Now everybody wants to discount the players now that it's Rory that's won it again, but golf Twitter's a crazy place to be sometimes.
So here's one thing I was going back and forth with a friend, and I think we've all seen the clip because we watched the playoff. Rory's going first on 17, grabs a 9, and you see JJ looking down at his bag, which all the caddies talk and they know what they're hitting, right? He hits a 9, he flights it perfectly. Obviously, it's a chippy 9, it's not full. JJ goes up there and just puts it in the water, like 5 feet too far from the absolutely perfection shot, right? So, was that a mind game by Rory pulling a 9?
No, I think Rory's at the level where he's like, I'm not worried about what JJ's doing. I'm worried about what Rory's doing. I know exactly how far this 9 iron goes in a 20-mile-an-hour gust in my face, and I'm going to hit the shot that needs to be hit. I think that's why he has 28 tour victories and JJ Spawn has checks 1. Right. That being said, all the players do it. JJ wants to know what Rory hits. JJ's got a good idea of the power that Rory has, right? Like he could still make an educated, decision and knowing his game compared to Rory's. Like JJ picked the shot he wanted to hit. He hit it exactly how he wanted to hit. It was just kind of the wrong shot. Like
Totally.
he just hit it perfectly according to plan, which his plan wasn't the great wasn't great.
I think he hit a perfect shot. He hit it to plan. The only thing that came up was the wind. And you've
Mhm.
got a variable that you cannot control, which is I mean, they were saying 30-mile-an-hour winds out there, and at one
it
point
was it was
it
pretty breezy. It
it
was it was
laid
And,
way worse Monday than it was Sunday.
it laid
and he
down, and unfortunately he
yeah.
picked a club for it to be up, and it probably just dropped 5 miles an hour, and
Yep. And he
like
hit
that's
it
just
high. Like the higher you go, the wind's going to be different. It's not like it's just steady, 100 feet up. Like he hit the apex. I think Kisner was saying like that's pretty much the apex we look for
yeah.
in a golf shot, is what Kisner said. Like I, he hit the shot he wanted. It just wasn't the right shot. But does he take 9 iron after seeing Rory hit it? Like he should have taken. Maybe he didn't take into effect like Rory's apex on this 9 iron was like 60% of what it normally is, and he didn't think that through. That's possible, but
Totally.
He thought it was short. If you saw his interview, he thought it
when
was
I
in the
heard
bunker.
that, I was like, you are giving so much credit to Rory and him playing mind games right now. Everyone knows what he hits. Everyone knows what they're going to go in there at that level. Like, it's not like he's going to do it on purpose for those types of things. And he messed up on the wind. That was the only thing. He didn't take too much club. It was just the wind. It's a variable you can't.
What are your thoughts on hole
I
17?
mean, I went out for a walk Monday morning, like after working for a little bit. The wind was gusting, so it legit almost blew my phone out of my hand. Like when I made it like 10 feet out the door, like it was whipping. So yeah, I'm sure like, whatever wind he was planning on just wasn't there. He didn't flight it low enough, and it just kind of floated up. There's a bunch of different things, but I mean, I think like we were saying, like we already knew he wasn't going to win in the playoff anyways. I think we probably could have stopped after 16. We had seen enough even after the tee shot. So I don't think there's any like gamesmanship going on though. Like these guys, you should know what your numbers are, and depending on what the elements are showing you, like what type of shot you want to hit. If you don't execute, you don't execute. That's all it is.
That's true.
I don't think he's blaming it, or you could blame it on like that he wanted to hit 9-iron and then saw Rory hit 9-iron, so then he clubbed up. I don't think that was the case at all. I think he had, I think he had in his mind already, like, I'm just going to hit this little 85% 8-iron. Like the wind's going to knock it down. I got to stick it close. Like I'm going to be aggressive. And yeah, it stopped gusting when he hit.
He said it in the interview. He's like, we were using TrackMan on the range. It felt like the same exact wind, and the 8-iron was flying this far. So that's why we went with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think JJ Spawn had zero problem sleeping Monday night, knowing that he hit the shot that he wanted to. It just wasn't.
And just made what 1.75 mil or whatever it is for second place of the players.
Just sleeping on his stack of cash that he made. That he's probably just doubled what he's made throughout his career, right?
Yeah, I think he's going to sleep just fine.
Yeah, he seems like a genuine, like nice guy too. Like real, just like pull your. I don't know his past, but works hard to get where he's at, and he found himself in contention on Sunday and Monday of the Players Championship, and just didn't fall his way.
I thought he had pretty good responses, like all that pressure and all that interviews. Like,
well, you were probably just extremely happy he decided to do the interview, right? Because he probably owes us something. Right on cue, his internet freezes.
That was perfect.
His official money made on the tour, $17.2 million. So he's done well for himself on the tour.
Yeah, he's done fine.
One win, he's pretty much just at like 60% of the cuts made. 3 runner-up, 5 places, top 5, 11, 24 top 10. So he's been in the mix. He's playing well this year, which is nice. Like he's been in the mix, I think, the last 3 tournaments. That was perfect timing, Justin, with your internet kind of freezing up on it. Making my joke. So he's made way more money than I thought he has. Is what I'm.
Yeah, I was gonna say. You mentioned JJ Spawn only like he probably made more than he's made in his career. Guy's made $17 million already with only 1 win, but he has played 228 events.
Yeah,
like
good career.
Yeah, he's not broke little pity JJ Spawn. He's got some cash in there. He just hasn't been able to throw his tokens in for the wins.
Justin, so overall, great players tournament, a guy that fans of golf 50-50 on, right? Probably half root for Rory, half hate Rory. Big win for him. The Players Championship. He's not a lot of people win the Players twice, which is one thing to notate, right? Scotty, I think Hal Sutton, Tiger, Jack. Like it's kind of an elite list of people that he just joined in another fashion. I thought it was a good tournament overall. They do such a good job of the actual coverage too of this tournament. Way better than the other events. So that's always nice. outside of the Creator Classic, which was just absolutely horrible with the coverage. Super enjoyable to watch when you were watching the golf shots. He came down to Solly, George Bryan, and Grant in the playoff right on the 17th hole. I will say we talked about Solly a bit on the last one. Like it was kind of cool seeing he doubled the first hole and then just like hit a bunch of pars and like got it
He's
under
kind of grinded it out.
He
Yeah.
made pars, but those were grindy. And some of those putts, he had to make real putts to actually make those pars. Like it was a really good performance.
Yep.
What was his strokes gained putting?
Do they have those stats? I haven't even looked.
Oh, they
I sent
released
you guys the
something.
stats.
Yeah, Teddy sent it over.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You sent them out. Yeah, okay.
Because I was keeping up with them.
Yeah. Trent being like negative 27 strokes game from tee to green, just 4 in the
cup
water.
Yeah,
on
not
14.
great.
Viral moment of him just laying the sod over the entire 16th hole fairway.
So Solly, he gained 1.42 strokes putting. Second only to, any guesses?
Grant.
Nope. Justin?
George.
Kyle Berkshire.
Well, that's interesting because Kyle couldn't keep anything anywhere near the fairway.
Yeah. So, got up and down for a couple bogeys.
Yeah.
Fat Perez, 1.21 strokes gained putting. George Bryan was 0.04. Those were the only guys that gained any shots putting.
I do like that the pin they had set up on Wednesday was like that front kind of pin where magic can
spin
happen
it back
a bit. Yeah. And George Bryan hit a good shot. I mean, he hit a pretty good shot. It just too much spin down that hill and ended up in the water in the playoff. Grant's just so steady. Like he just drives the ball well. He his iron play and his ball striking is just so good.
I think every aspect of his game as well. It's just like it seems like his putting is just so streaky, and for the most part, usually isn't good. So it was kind of cool to see him drain that 30-footer, 25-footer
for win
to win it. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
With a broomstick.
With
broomstick lab putter.
Yeah. Lab was all over this golf
They
tournament.
were. I mean, Sam Hahn's got to be through the roof right now on the coverage that Lab's getting.
I mean, they had 3 players on the front page on Sunday. I mean, when was the last time that happened? Or when was the first time that happened?
Right.
Like that was awesome coverage for them.
That being said, if I see somebody,
it happens every other week with Scotty Cameron's being in every other person's bag.
I know, but I'm just saying, like
TaylorMade spiders with
Odyssey,
Scotty 9,000 times last year. Rory.
Yeah, it's the same though. If you look at
guy.
Yeah, but if you look at it's the same with golf balls, right? You get maybe a third of the field that's using Strixon or TaylorMade, maybe even half the field. Same thing with the putters. Like they're using Odysseys or TaylorMades, but there's still half of the professional field is using a Scotty Cameron. It's just wild.
I loved it was Hideki's Scotty Cameron. I was like that. I want that.
Yeah. He always has a stick one too. Like there's some of those guys just always have a new Scotty every few weeks that are just so sick.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be cool to this is a weird comparison, but it would be cool to go to the Ping, the Golden Vault, right? Where they played all the winning and see all that kind of stuff. I would much rather go and see Hideki's personal collection of Scotties because I heard it's just insane.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I bet his is JT's, Spieth. I bet they all just got I saw what they sent Anthony Kim, and it's on the resale market, it's $30,000 worth of Circle T putters. I'm like, I want one of those. I was like, can I have one, Anthony, please?
Wes Bryant.
Send me one you don't want.
Wes Bryant did that What's in the Office video on YouTube. That was kind of fun just to see all the clubs that he has hiding. And his putter collection is pretty cool as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine most of these guys got, especially if they're a Scotty Cameron user, they probably got some sick things, just that they don't even touch.
Yep.
So, no, overall Players Championship delivered. Golf's like officially here. We've got actually a pretty decent field at the Valspar. I think there's a lot of guys wanting to get in form, right, and wanting to earn their way. Like I saw Ricky's interview last night at TGL. He's like, I'm not in the Masters right now. Like I got to go. Like we're playing Houston, we're playing Valspar. Like we're gonna be there. So it's gonna help kind of deliver on that. I mean, you got Xander at the Valspar, you got Tommy Fleetwood, JT, Sepp Straka, who may not be moving the needle for a lot of people, but he's playing pretty well this
Solid
year.
player.
Yeah.
Got your favorite golfer, Kim. Your
Mike Kim.
BFF on
Mike Kim's gonna be there. Dude, that was a brutal way to miss the cut for Mike Kim. I mean, I think he went bogey and missed
tough.
the cut on his own volition. So at the Players, but no, he's playing well. Teddy, you have some thoughts on Innisbrook. This is the snake pit, right? At Innisbrook.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what they're known for. Can you share with the listeners what those thoughts are on Innisbrook?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are like maybe just skip it. Just skip the tournament. I don't really see what you're getting out of it other than trying to get into the Masters. I think they're lucky about where they fall in the schedule. I'd rather watch like the Puerto Rico Open over the Valspar. Never really been a big fan. Yeah, really. Like it's not a tour course. It really isn't. If you were to go walk around, and it's a tough comparison because obviously TPC was made to host professional golf. But just walking around, like I would feel bad when you were in town, Justin. Like we talked about Innisbrook, I would have felt bad taking you there because it's that bad of a golf course.
Damn.
Like that's why like that didn't even make the list of like where we should probably play. I sent you 4 other courses that we should play. Like it's just not it's not enjoyable. It's got a couple like okay holes, but for the most part, you're standing on the tee. Everything is right in front of you. There's no hiding. It's got a couple goofy holes with like a forced layups off the tee, and not for any like fun reason. Like I'm okay with a forced layup if there's also an option to like if you can hit a few different clubs or use like most of the clubs in your golf bag like throughout a round of golf, like that's great. Innisbrook doesn't have it. It's driver off most tees except for like 3 of them where you lay up with your 3 iron, and then everything else is a wedge or a 9 or an 8 iron. And then
so it is kind of boring. I mean, it's kind of
it is extremely boring.
Almond gouge type course.
Yeah, outside of a couple holes, yeah, you can just, and that's not saying that it's not like narrow on some holes and there's trees and there's thick rough, sure, but like it just doesn't have any personality to me.
Yeah,
it really doesn't. And even the snake pit, like, cool. You have a statue of a snake, and then you have a par 3, a par 4, and I think there's par 5, right? Or is it just
is the best part of the course the statue?
2 par 4s. I took a picture in front of it when I was there. So when I played it, I didn't realize until I pulled it up earlier. I had forgotten that I started on 10 when I played it. And I remember I played a couple junior golf tournaments there as well. But like once you get to the statue, you're like, oh, right. Yeah, there's a professional tournament that they have here. At no other point when you're on the course do you think that.
Yeah.
At no other point. You have a bunch of like condos and villas, like it's a resort, I guess you could call that. But you could tell it was built like in the 70s. Like nothing's been updated.
It's one of those like legacies that's been there, and it's probably been on the PGA Tour for a
little. I guess. I mean, like we're using legacy pretty loosely, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt this Innisbrook, but TGL is on right now. And it is 2-1 Atlanta over the Bay. It's kind of interesting. So it's a tight match, and they're in triples right now. And it's Patrick Cantlay versus Oberg.
Yeah.
So
You know what's crazy is that somehow the New York Golf Club is fine.
somehow they beat LA Golf Club,
Yeah. They were
which
just
is
like, I guess we
wild.
should probably try. And like the last 3 matches they had, they like did all right.
Yeah.
Back to the Valspar.
Back to
So Teddy hates the golf course. Got it. I
Yeah,
believe
skip it.
he shot 66 there, so it's not that hard. We're fact checking that right now.
I don't think I ever shot 66, but I shot like 75, and it was like the worst 75 I could have shot.
Sure. Decent field. Teddy, my man, you had a clean sweep at the Players with the picks. Like we're not.
Yeah, what's up? You want to talk about it?
Not quite. So
Okay.
you're at 13 points. I'm at 8. And
Yikes.
Justin is at 6.
Yikes.
So that means you get to pick first again for the 8th week in a row at this point. It seems
Is
like.
there before
for
I
the
pick?
first 3 weeks, I had the lead, which is crazy.
Yeah, then you started talking shit, and now where are you?
I don't know if that actually happened, Cam, but if you took those comments and shit, then this now explains a lot of things and where our
Yeah.
conversations go from here.
So
before I pick, is there anything you guys are gonna do? Are we gonna switch the strategy up with your picks? Like
I am.
what are we doing going forward to get you back in this thing?
I'm changing my strategy, but I'm not telling you until after you pick.
Okay.
I just need the guy I picked to not shoot 76 on day 1. You just can't do that. Like if you're gonna come out and shoot 62 on Friday, please don't like shoot 68 on Thursday. I'm not making bad picks. I'm like we were all agreeable that the pick I made last week for the winner at least was good.
It was a good pick.
I was right there on the cut line. It was up and down,
I had the most questionable one by you guys, and that was, I only finished 1 stroke behind you.
It was like bouncing, back and forth the cut
Yeah.
line, and then you picked Keegan, who had a nice little Sunday. He had the hole in one, which was cool. You did want to switch to Matsuyama off the record on their text thread.
Yeah.
Justin asked to switch to Matsuyama, and I
Can
said
confirm.
I'm good with it. Teddy said I'm not going to be good with this. I think it was a joke, but
it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke. I don't like switching picks after sleeping on it and maybe thinking it over and looking at the field again. I don't like that. I think once we do this, it's set.
Yeah,
it's locked in.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm not updating the sheet the morning after we make our picks.
Yeah.
You could have just stopped that. I'm not updating the sheet because you don't really ever do it anyways, Teddy.
First off,
he does for
picks. I do our picks every goddamn week.
I'll stick up for Teddy on this for picks.
All right, I thought it was Justin. My bad, Ted.
No, no.
Long story short, I'm keeping my strategy the same. I'm not far off, Teddy. You're just making really good picks. I think it's more of a
clip it.
In my case, I think it's more of Teddy's making good picks that are paying off.
Yeah.
So because I'm so far behind, do I get 2 players against your 1 for winner?
No, but we can revisit that at a later date if need be. What are
we starting with?
Let's do last. Let's do DFL first.
DFL first.
All right, let me just go to my strategy here and pick. I already know who Justin's going to pick after scrolling through. Spoiler alert, it's Luke Donald. I'm going to do, I want to say Kevin Tway, but I think he actually might play pretty well. Let's go with Patton Kazar. Yeah, big Kiz, the new Kiz.
Patton Kazar, DFL. Lock it in for Ted. I'm going to go with my DFL, the gentleman who you just mentioned, open qualifying, Kevin Tway.
I can see why you would make that pick. I thought about it, but the Valspar, like I said, it's not a real PGA tournament. It's not a real PGA course. So I could see him actually doing pretty well and pulling in a top 25 finish. So,
All right.
but it's already written, so we're keeping that.
It's already in the doc. All right,
Yeah.
Justin.
We're going with. Well, wait a second. I was gonna say Greg Koch, but that's a PGA sectional champion, so he's actually not a PGA player, right? I just noticed this. So I don't think I can actually pick him.
Yeah,
So,
I would say you can't pick somebody that's not even a actual
all
four
right.
player.
So we will just go with Andrew Chi, the Monday qualifier guy.
You mean the guy that you love so much because of how he got in his golf tournament?
Yeah, but you'll understand here in a second what's going on.
So you want to pick the guy that you've brought up several times already in our group text.
I brought up once. I said this was a cool story because I saw it on X. That was it.
You sent it to us. That's bringing it up once. Then when we got on, and we're going over our notes before the episode, you brought him up
if you
again
looked at
to
the
see if we
text.
wanted to talk about it.
I
No,
said,
you wanted to.
look at the
You wanted to
text.
talk about it. Is this you talking about it? Picking him to finish dead last?
It's either that or Kevin Kisner, and I'm pretty close to picking Kevin Kisner.
He's tired of picking Kisner.
Yeah, I don't want to pick Kisner, and honestly, all I'm doing is going to the very bottom. I'm not putting any more thought into this.
Yeah.
All I did was go to the very bottom, and I'm hoping that this is going to work.
All right. Let's do Teddy, it's your choice. You want to do cut now or you want to do
Yeah, let's do cut. It's like I said, again, it's not a difficult golf course. I'm gonna go 4 under.
So is this typed? Is that in?
It's in there. I don't care what the cut was last year. It was probably bad weather.
Was even par.
It was not. It
I'm
was
gonna
one
go.
over.
It wasn't, Justin.
Wasn't there like rain delays and stuff last year?
Wasn't.
I feel like there was.
You need to fact check yourself, Justin. It was even par. I'm going 1 under. What's
You're
your
going
cut,
1
Justin?
under?
1 under.
You went 4 under? Fudge. I guess I'm going 2. Split the middle.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that. All right. Winner, then we got to wrap up. My kid's freaking out.
I hear that. My cat was also freaking out. I'm gonna go with hasn't Glover won the Valspar? Can somebody fact check that?
Fact checking right now.
Thank you. Knapp has been looking pretty good. Big Sepp was not putting very well this past week, so I'm not going to fall into that trap. Let's go friend of the pod, Michael Kim.
Ooh. Wow, Michael Kim. Going from missing the cut to winning it for you?
Yeah, I think it was a tough week for him. I think with the wind and everything, like he's been playing well, but he hasn't really had a battle, the elements like that out west. So I think it's going to be pretty nice this weekend.
I don't see the
Shouldn't be too windy. Okay, all right, fair enough. But yeah, Michael Kim.
Did you just pick Michael Kim as a win?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I was fact checking you, and you stole him right out from under me, huh?
Is that who you were going to pick?
No.
Okay.
But he's always on my mind. We're gonna go. We're gonna do something crazy here. No, we're not. No, we're not. I can't afford to do something crazy. But I kind of want to pick this guy. Should I pick this guy?
Pick him.
We're going no, because he had an on-course interview talking about he has no idea where his ball going. I can't pick him. All right, I'm doing it again. We're going Justin Thomas.
Who were you going to pick initially?
Billy Horschel.
Yeah,
I could see where that would be a good pick, though.
Yeah.
He had an on-course interview like on Sunday. He's like, I have God honest truth, no idea where my ball is going, so I just want to get inside the clubhouse. Like, he was just like, I'm ready to be done.
It was actually really awesome to hear all that.
Yeah, no, it was great. Who's your winner?
Shoot. I'm trying to decide between two, and my strategy with the last one was just go to the very bottom and pick the last ranked person, and my strategy for this one was to go to the very top and pick the top ranked person for this year, and it's Sepp Straka, but Corey Connors is right
Yeah.
there. And
I was between him and Michael Kim.
And I'm like, I'm pretty sure Corey Connors played better last week, but
yeah,
I'm gonna stick with just the strategy of the very top and the very bottom, and I'm gonna go with Sepp Straka.
Okay.
I like it. And by rank,
I think it's a sucker pick, but that's fine.
Rank?
What?
Like, there's like two columns. It says rank and then OWJ.
Yeah, not world ranking, but FedEx ranking right now. Sepp's second. But yeah, I mean, I did look at like world ranking, but I don't know. World ranking is such a long play on that, and I mean, you got Xander there. I was honestly with that. I was thinking about Tommy Fleetwood, and I was like, well, the FedEx Cup is, the FedEx Cup is where like they're playing right now, so I'm just gonna go on that ranking. So that's what I did for both the picks.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, the picks are in. Don't try texting us, Justin. Talking about Hideki Matsuyama tomorrow morning. All right, we're not going to hear it. Don't even entertain it. All right, your pick is your pick.
He's not even in the field.
All right. Well, don't do it.
That doesn't mean anything. You could still try to pick him.
Don't try and make me look dumb. All right, Justin. All right, I think that's it. I think we're good. Don't forget, guys, send all iron deals to Teddy. He's looking for irons. Justin needs help with his internet. We're the Pitchmark Collective on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify, as well as Apple Podcast. We appreciate all the listens, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
It's 2-2.